If you leased a vehicle in the last 3 years, you may have found that that turned out to be a very, very smart money move. And here's why. When you lease a vehicle for 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 years, you pay payments, but at the end of that term, you can just walk away from the vehicle rather than having another 2 or 3 years worth of payments where now the car's out of warranty, you may have high miles, or you may just want another car. Most people only keep cars for 2 or 3 years anyways and flip it to a new car. If you financed it, you probably would owe more money than it's worth. But if you lease the vehicle, the end of that 3 years, you walk back, you drop off the keys, you walk away. Now, you also have an option to purchase the vehicle. At the beginning of the lease, you are given a written, documented, contracted, etched in stone option where you can buy it for a fixed amount. Usually for a 3-year lease, it's about half of what the original price was. So if you buy a $50,000 car, at the end of 3 years after you've made your payments, you can either walk away or pay half the value of the car and own it. Up until the last couple years, the lease companies guessed pretty well as to what the value is going to be in 3 years, and it was almost a break even. So if your buyout option was $25,000, the car was probably worth $25,000. In fact, in some cases, the buyout option was more than the current value because lease companies and manufacturers sometimes artificially goosed up that number to give you a lower payment in a way that discounted the car without making it seem like it was bargain basement. For example, if you're leasing a BMW or you're going to buy a BMW and they had big stickers in the window that said $2,000 rebate, 0% financing, and all kind of balloons and carnival acts, you might not think that BMW is really that prestigious of a brand if they have all these discounts flying around. And a lot of manufacturers, even the lower end cars, got away from this circus act discounting. What they did instead was they put the discount built into a lease so they could just offer you a lower payment. And it was a way to discount the vehicle without having to make it look like blue light special, right? So what that did was artificially raised up the residual. And the advantage to the manufacturer is if you didn't, if you bought out the vehicle, they never lost that money, right? But here's the thing. Over the last 2 years or so, year and a half, used car values have gone through the roof. So many people get to the end of their lease and realize that their buyout is way less than the market value. In fact, that car that you have a buyout of $30,000 or $25,000 might be worth 30 or 31 or 32. So if you buy it, you're already making money. Even if you don't want to keep the car, if you buy it and then resell it, you could pocket the difference. Or if you are going to get a new car anyways, instead of doing a lease turn-in, do a lease trade-in. Little bit different scenario, which is one word. A lease turn-in is you walk away, drop off the keys, and you're done. A lease trade-in is you use that lease residual as a trade-in towards your next car. So if it's worth 30 and the buyout was 25, that $5,000 equity goes towards your next car. So buying out that lease is a very smart financial move if the residual value is lower than the market value. And in many cases, it is with this current market. Now, going forward, if you lease a car today, that might not be the case 3 years from now. So don't make this a motivation to lease a new car right now. It might not be the same thing in 2 or 3 years, but right now is a sweet spot. If you leased a car from 2000, let's say 18, 19, or 20, and your lease is up or coming up, definitely check out residual and make sure the paperwork is done right. There's a little bit of a tricky scenario of buying out your lease because it's not a lien where you do a lien payoff. You're doing a lease buyout where it transfers ownership, and you have to make sure that's done correctly. But a lease buyout could be a way to add equity to your next purchase or just simply put cash in your pocket.